public service announcement, right? This is pretty good. In a fight or in a combat sport, the person who is offensive or is initiating their offensive sequence is more likely to win the exchange. The first person to initiate, the first person to score is the person who's most likely to win, right? Watching Merab and Sean O'Malley fight twice, this becomes very apparent, right? If you look at the difference between the way Sean and Aljo's fight went, and Merab and both Moran and Schaub's fights went, Merab did a very good job of making sure that Sean O'Malley was always on the back foot, which inhibited his ability to work his game plan and his striking ability. Now Sean O'Malley is very skilled, but because Merab was able to keep him in a defensive cycle of trying to angle out, of trying to get away, of trying to move away, it makes him less skilled, quote unquote, right? If you take two wrestlers that are of equal skill, the one who shoots in first and gets to a leg or gets to a position of advantage first is most likely going to win that scramble. If you are in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and there's the saying in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? Once you get hit in the face, you go down a belt level, right? So if you're a black belt and you're in Jiu-Jitsu and MMA and you get punched in the face, you become a brown belt. And if you get punched in the face again, you become purple, and then you get punched in the face, blue, etc. You get the idea. There is, I believe, also there's this idea of like being a when a black belt is on the offense, they are a black belt. But as soon as you put a black belt into a defensive cycle that they can't get out of, their belt level goes down as well, right? Like, if you look at the way Gordon Ryan goes up against other top black belts and slowly pressure cooks them, you see that at first, they at the initiation of the match, they may look like a black belt. But as they succumb to pressure and technique and offensive sequences from Gordon Ryan, they start looking less like black belts, and then more like brown belts, and then more like purple belts. And then by the time he's done choking them out with a rear naked choke, they look like a white belt all over again. And so what you can do with that information, dang, I haven't even eaten my food. Be proactive about being offensive. Be proactive about putting your opponents into sequences where you are offensive and they are defensive. Because you initiating is always going to be faster than somebody defending. Now, if this person has a high level of skill, you're going to need a high level of initiation. But the point still stands. If you are the person initiating with skill, with a good offensive sequences, setups, timing, etc., in boxing, wrestling, kickboxing, Muay Thai, MMA, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever you want it to be, if you have them on the back foot, you're winning more often than not. It's how they say, like, the greatest defense is a good offense. I kind of agree with that, but I would also say that you always want them defending and you offending, you being offensive and them being defensive. Yeah, I think what I'm saying is making sense. So, if you want to maximize the overall likelihood of your success in MMA, you need to have really good offense. Because offense wins fights, right? I remember I made one technique striking video, and it was like, oh, I was saying, like, if you have good head movement and you make them miss every punch, right? It looks nice, but if you don't hit them back, then it just looks nice, right? So if I slip 3 punches and I land 3 punches, I look good. But if I just slip 3 punches and don't land anything, it's like we're shadowboxing. He's shadowboxing. I'm just being a nice moving target for him, right? But if he punches me and then I shoot a takedown and I score off, if I score off of his offense, then I look good, right? And so, you know, that's just something I've been meditating on lately is having a good offense. That's the reason why, you know, a lot of sometimes people in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu struggle with going up against wrestlers who know Jiu-Jitsu, because wrestling as a culture encourages being offensive, being on top, being in the dominant position. And so if you are always on top, always in a dominant position, and always in an offensive cycle of chains of takedowns and submissions, the fight's going to be a lot easier for you than if you're always on bottom and you're never able to establish control from a top position or submit from the bottom. So it's just some food for thought is be offensive. Be offensive. Be offensive, be willing to defend, but always look to reinitiate an offensive cycle for yourself when you're fighting.